NIL transfer portal, 100% on that. What were you going to say, D4?
Oh no, I was gonna elaborate on that too, and it's like we mentioned earlier, what a recruiting win this is for us. You know, we all know we have the NIL money.
Yeah,
we got the money. Now these players that sit there and watched us go toe to toe with Alabama, the ones that maybe been on the fence, Malik Muhammad, he's down to Texas and Alabama. And I think he sees Texas can stand toe-to-toe with Alabama. Maybe my choice was correct. Guys like that just reassuring that Texas is on the come-up.
100%. And NIL helps. Like you said, the transfer portal helps because it redistributes the talent and also helps out the NIL teams. I also think expanding the college football playoff, I know there's some downsides to it, but the positive thing is I really do believe that will help spread out the talent because now you don't have 4 teams that you can pitch going to the playoffs. You're going to have 12. So that's very interesting as well. And if the talent gets spread out and it becomes more even across the playing field, it's going to be very interesting, guys. I think there's a lot of teams that can come step up and there's a lot of teams that will take a little bit step down. And I think Texas can be one of those teams that steps up. We'll have to see though. Oh, 100% Surfer Boy. UTSA will be tough. They are well coached. And it's Jeff Traylor's fantastic coach. But the thing is, there should be no excuse. We're way more talented. Our offensive line's better than recently thought. Our defensive line is actually, they're not going to get a lot of pressure, I don't think, but they're pretty stingy at the point of attack. And that's what we asked for. The pass rush still isn't where it needs to be. Gotten better. Overall, very happy with the defense, very happy with the defensive game plan, very happy with everything. It's about playing to the standard because, again, these same guys could come out here and play with no emotion and no fire in their stomachs versus UTSA, and we could squeak out and win by 10 points. But it's like, why? That's the key here is we need to play with that same energy. Best defensive performance in how many years? To be honest, since that 2018 Georgia Sugar Bowl?
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, I say that's the most notable. That game was a lot apart than the score indicated. I know it was 28-21, but we handed it to them that game.
Yeah, what was it, 21-7, or we might have even been 28-7 at one point.
Yeah.
And we were pushing them around. So, yeah, that was probably the game that comes to mind. Other than that, it's been a long time, guys. I mean, I can't think of another game that comes to mind in the Tom Herman era or the Charlie Strong era, that's for sure, because we never really stepped up defensively. And, I agree with you, Paxton. Very impressed. It's about going forward now. And I really want to see Steven Sarkisian echo that point. And I think he will. It's like, we can't be proud of what you accomplished, take away the positives, talk about the negatives, and move forward and rally the troops and reminder that we still have 10 games to play and that our goals are still in front of us. Nothing happened here, guys. Like people have said, if we win out, guess what? You got another shot at them. If we don't win out, you can still win the Big 12 championship. That's the ultimate goal here is the Big 12 championship. And I think we actually have a shot at it.
See, this is where I'm going to disagree partly with you there, Surfer Boy 3000. And that Sugar Bowl was against half of the actual dog squad since a lot of them opted out, but I digress. If you're going to play in a bowl game and you're a team like Georgia that are pulling in 5-star after 5-star after 5-star, there's guys sitting behind them. We've seen they come out against Oregon this year. They lost 15-player draft. The teams like Georgia, teams like Alabama, what we're building to, you don't rebuild, you reload, and they have 5-star players sitting behind 5-star players. So if they weren't ready to play, that's on them. We handled business.
And if you go back and watch the game, it wasn't like there was mental errors by Georgia. It was they were physically getting manhandled at the point of attack. I don't know really what else to say about that. And I'm trying to think because we had some big time missing players in that game as well. I don't think the little Jordan Humphrey, yeah, he did play there, but there was other players that did not play. And the thing is, like you said, the depth of Georgia, you should be able to still beat us with those guys out.
Especially what we've been in the past 10 years. Texas wins out and makes the playoff, and my dogs look forward to stomping a mud hole in the horns. Hold on, sorry. Trust me, we are a way better team than Bama. Trust me, guys. Ask Oregon. Listen, I personally think I know Matthew said earlier his beliefs that there's not a clear cut number one. I do put Georgia at number one, and I think it's clear cut. I think it's them a slight, just a hair drop, Alabama and Ohio State, and then
the rest. Yeah, I would agree with that. And the thing is, I haven't seen enough from Georgia. I don't think Oregon's that good, to be honest with you. I think if that was USC or Utah, I'd been way more impressed. Oregon has a first-year head coach. You have Bo Nix at quarterback, and he had time to throw. Like, it wasn't that you weren't just over manhandling the offensive line. He had time to throw, and he just didn't play well.
We don't know. Can't predicate an entire season off of one game.
One game, yeah, 100%.
And that Notre Dame defense is pretty legit.
Bama should have never been number one. Guys, that's the Saban effect. I mean, I guess, but Georgia did lose a lot on defense, and you still have Stetson Bennett, who played very well last week as your starting quarterback. So I kind of disagree with that. I will say, like I said, Bama's wide receivers are not as good as they used to be. Their defense, their cornerbacks are not as good as they used to be. They're still very good in the trenches. Like, their defensive line's very good, and their offensive line's good. It's not great. And you have Bryce Young, who I think probably is the best player in college football. So, I mean, unless this team just totally gets it just gets destroyed physically and a lot of injuries happen, they're always going to be in games because of him. Like, he's so cool, guys. Like, there's very few people that would have been able to do what he did to Ryan Watts, where he's able to dive or like duck underneath of him and then run for 20 yards. And you never see him get too high or low.
What a perfect play call by PK in that situation. Yeah. I mean, if Ryan Watts would have, been able to make that tackle, we could have been singing a whole different story right now. But just showing that we made the adjustments and kept up with the adjustments, not from half to half, but from series to series, that he was able to make that play call. And like I said, Ryan Watts is able to wrap him up. Could be singing a whole different tune right now.
Yeah, was that a second or third down?
That was third down.
It was?
Yes. And he escaped and got the first down.
That would have been a 4th and 19, something like that.
Yeah, we are. That's exactly what I said earlier, Surfer Boy. I said Georgia does the same thing as Alabama. You guys reload. You have 5 stars sitting after 5 stars. And I mean, hats off to Georgia. I have them as my number one team in the country.
Yeah, I would probably put them at number 1 for right now. I still want to see them versus like a better just overall team. I don't think, like I said, I don't think Oregon will be ranked by the end of the year. I think, and if they are, they'll be like 25th. So we'll see what happens. And the 25th best team compared to what is probably the 1st or 2nd best team, that's a gigantic drop off.